So I hope this is the last time I have to do this video, because I've done it about 15 times and the camera or the phone or something just stops. Anyway, here we go. These are the letters of my complaint letters to the Royal Devon and Exeter Hospital from 2020 onwards, and I started complaining. The complaints were all the same, that someone else had written the hospital records and there was loads of altered dates. The hospital returned my letters and replied to my letters, and they said they couldn't find any complaints, they couldn't find any altered dates, and that I was the wrong one that had got the dates wrong, even though I was there when my mum went in and I wasn't there when she didn't go in, or when she was dead after she was dead, or before, blah blah blah. So these are the letters, and I'm just going to go through them because I'm going to show you all the letters that I sent to the hospital and their replies, and these are them. So here we go. This is the first one. The first one was in October of 2020, and then February of 2021, and then through 2021 and 2022, 2023. They just kept sending me the same letter after they decided that they wouldn't look into anything. I've just got to point out all of these things. I pointed out all the mistakes and everything. If you want to just pause the video and go and zoom in and have a look at the letter for yourself, that'd be great. I'm just going to cover that bit up over there, so you can't see. This is the only person I'm covering up, and it's because it's the only nurse, she's a site manager, who stopped and spoke to me on the day that my mum died. But all the rest of them, nobody's helping me or my mum. My mum went into the hospital and she died in 3 to 4 days. This is my second attempt at trying to make a complaint. The hospital said that they couldn't find any altered dates, and they weren't going to look into it anymore. After my first complaint in 2020, in October 2020, and my second complaint in 2021, but they fobbed me off and fobbed me off. Same with the coroner's office, they fobbed me off and fobbed me off, to the point where I'm not allowed to report anything to anyone now because it's over the time limit. But it was the reason that it's over the time limit is because of the fact that they kept on fobbing me off. There you go. I had photographed the mortuary witness statement, as you can see there, and I put a little star sign next to the 24th because that was the date that I saw my mum dead. It was the date that the site manager spoke to me in the hospital, and later sent me the message on Facebook Messenger to say how sorry she was. They're saying, and I asked the site manager in 2020. I've got the messages from her. I asked her in 2020 about the different doctors that apparently looked after my mum on days that she'd already died. Apparently they looked after, this one doctor looked after her in the he was the mortuary doctor. He was also the doctor who looked after my mum in the ward after she died, but in the ward and before she'd gone into the hospital. The other doctor, who is the consultant, he'd recommended that my mum had an operation on a day that she wasn't there. The X-rays have got the right date of birth and the wrong age. There's so many things. There's so many altered dates, and the hospital couldn't find any of the altered dates. So I'm just putting all of this in. And they're saying that, you know, it must be hard for me to accept that I got the day wrong that my mum died. Well, I didn't get the day wrong that my mum died. I was there on the day that she died, and I wasn't there on the day that they said she died because she'd already died 4 days before. Everything's in the hospital records that tells that she was, and she did die on the 24th, or she died on the 23rd, and it all goes on to the 24th as well. The patient summary was sent on the 24th. These are the people concerned with the hospital. When you receive it, this is the final letter that I received from the hospital. Let's go right to the top, right to the bottom. You can pause it and zoom in for yourselves and have a look on it. Unfortunately, after careful consideration, we're not able to look into the details you have raised due to the length of time lapse. Well, the reason that the time had lapsed was because they didn't look in the first place. When they sent me the other letters and said that they've looked and they couldn't find any altered dates, they can't have been looking very hard. The reason that I'm at this point now is the last time I spoke to someone who was a lawyer. He was the lawyer that represents this hospital, and he said that I asked him if he could look into the coroner's thing. It's nothing to do with the hospital. And he said, he implied that he would be able to help me. But then he asked me to get all the information. I gave him all the information. Then I couldn't get hold of him again. And when I did eventually get hold of him by ringing him with a 141 number, he answered and said, what do you think you'll get if you were to take the hospital to court or the coroner's to court? And I said, well, I'd probably get justice for what happened to my mum. And perhaps all of the debt that I've been put in by trying to take people to court, perhaps the coroner would be able to pay for that, or the hospital would be able to pay for that. I said to him, he said, well, you're not going to get much chance of that, and he wouldn't have helped me anyway. So I did say, how about if I put it on a YouTube channel or something like that? And he said it will save you hundreds of thousands of pounds if you did that. So on his advice of saving myself hundreds of thousands of pounds, thank you very much, Al. That was great of you to suggest this. I'm putting it on here. This is the records that I'm putting on. These are all the letters, as I say, starting in 2020, ending in 2023. I'm not allowed to report it.
Didn't have.
Oh, hang on a
my
minute.
mum's
Now.
GP
Just
records.
a minute. Let's see. Wait.
The hospital.
Let's just start at the beginning. So this is the video that I've made that has, starting with the GP records, and we'll go from there. On the GP records, there's a 14th of May 2018. There's no 15th of May 2018, the date that they say that she had an operation, the date that is with the x-rays that have the right date of birth and the wrong age for the year. But there's no mention of that in there. I think I mentioned that in this video. So let's go with this. So here we go.
And was actually there. Now, the actual medication thing and all this sort of stuff, it's not very much, and it's a summary care record updated then. Well, my mum went into the hospital on that date, on the 21st of May 2018. In the records, in the hospital records and everything, it says that she had an operation on the 15th of May. Now, there's no 15th of May between the 14th and the 21st. But my mum went in on the 21st. I was told had an operation on the 22nd and died on the 24th because I was there and I said goodbye to my mum on that day. On the 14th of May, she wasn't there. And on the 15th of May, there is no record of the 15th of May. She had a load of x-rays, apparently, because she wasn't there. And she apparently had an operation to fit a femoral nail, but she wasn't there. But if she had had that, then surely it would have been in the GP records, because the important bits are in the GP records as well. But that's not there. So the 14th and the 15th of May 2018, she wasn't there at all. But she was there on the 21st of May. Now, in the hospital records, all the records in the hospital records are typed on the 21st of May, the day that she did go to hospital. Now, when she went in, she walked to the car, down 2 steps, down the path, got in the car herself. She didn't limp or anything like that, and she told me that she'd hurt her ankle, her shin. The coroner's witness statement says that she went in on the 14th after having a fall and breaking her hip, and apparently she went in to have a femoral nail fitted, but I didn't know about this until 2020 when I got the hospital records, because I knew that the hospital records were wrong. So what I'm saying is that there is 14th there, but my mum wasn't there. There's no 15th, which they say that she had an operation, which should be here if she'd had an operation. There is the 21st, and I was told that she had an operation on the 22nd, which is my birthday. It's always the same, my birthday, every year. It was at the time of Devon County show, which is the same time as around my birthday as well. The 24th of May, the day that my mum died, that's there as well. And the patient summary was sent to Wanford House Hospital on the 24th of May, which is the day that my mum died, the day that the site manager spoke to me in the hospital, and the day that I said goodbye to my dead mum. Now that's there, and the patient summary was sent on the day that I saw my mum dead. And all of the records in here there's a whole load of them that were sent to Wamford House on that day, and I'll show you other ones in a bit. I'm just trying to make my points clear. My mum died on the 24th. It does say that she went on coroner's to Sid Valley practice on the 28th, but it doesn't say that she's dead there. Where does it say? Fracture clinic. Keep going down. 28th. And my mum died on the 24th, and I saw her dead. But it doesn't say on the 28th here that my mum died, because she didn't. She died on the 24th. No, it doesn't say that. It says about fracture clinic. Now, if she had died on the 28th, surely it would say that she died on the 28th. Oh, look, there we go, date of death. But she didn't die on the 28th, she died on the 24th. All the hospital records were typed on the 24th of June 2020. That's the last time the GP records were typed. Now, I'm just pointing that out as well because I find it extremely strange that the GP records and a lot of the hospital records and a lot of the records were typed on the 24th of June 2020, and there's those three ladies that turned up on the 24th of June 2021 to have a celebratory anniversary party, three ladies in an apps for NHS car with the people that I believe wrote the hospital records. I'm just pointing this out. So we'll come back to that, but you can see there that the patient summary was sent to Wamford House Hospital, which would make sense if the patient died. They would have sent the records, the patient summary, on the 28th if she died on the 28th, but she died on the 24th. Now, I definitely saw her dead on the 24th, and on the 28th, I was building the back air vent on my polytunnel at 4:01 p.m. In the coroner's witness statement, it says that she died at 4:15 on the 28th, that she died at 4:15, or I saw her dead at 4:15 on the 24th. I don't believe in zombies. She died on the 24th. Down here it says the 18th of June 2020, and it says son rang to ask for copies of his mother's records. As he's querying the date, she was admitted to the hospital before she passed away. He is having a phone call with the doctor next week when she's went back to discuss. Spoke to every solicitors. They're the solicitors that I applied for the records through because the hospital didn't seem to want to give me the records, and they got the records for me. Because it just says here about it all. Everybody's asking for our computer records for the patient. We'd said we'd ask the doctor when she's back from leave if it's okay to release them. So, and that's what they did. And I asked then, but at the same time that I asked the doctor whether she thought my mum could write, and she said she didn't know whether my mum could write because she'd never seen her write anything down and she'd never received anything from her written down, but which isn't true, because in these records there's a letter from my mum signed by my mum. Just pointing that out. And on all the records, all the GP records, these ones are typed on the 24th of June 2020. As I say, I find it extremely suspicious that those people that turned up and had in a car apps for NHS had an anniversary party, three ladies, with the people that I believe wrote the hospital records. It was on the 10th of March that I asked, actually, the first time about whether the doctor thought that she could sign her name. It's questioning capacity to sign the will in 2017. My mum couldn't write in 2017. She couldn't hold a pen. And I'm just putting this out because this says here. Now, I know that she couldn't write then. She couldn't write in 2016 when it was my mum's husband's birthday. She couldn't write then. And she was tested in June of that year of 2016. And she, although she could kind of scribble, it wasn't really writing. But like I say, I knew that my mum couldn't write because she couldn't hold a pen, and we used to play games together. Here, the 4th of June was that when they decided that my mum had died on the 28th, but she didn't. She died on the 24th, and it's got Devon and Cornwall Constabulary there. On the mortuary witness statement, it's got Devon and Cornwall Constabulary, and on the letter that's at the end of all of this that says she died on the 23rd, it's from Devon and Cornwall Constabulary. I rang and made a formal complaint to the Metropolitan Police because I didn't seem to be able to get any answers from the Devon and Cornwall Police. And I asked them if the coroner's office was employed by Devon and Cornwall Police, to which they said no, they were employed. The coroner's office is employed through the council. I just feel that I'm being passed about and nobody's giving me a straight answer. So I'd made a formal complaint to the Metropolitan Police, who said no, it was the council that employed the coroner's office. But it's not, because I've rung the council and they said that it was the police. I tried to make a formal complaint to Devon and Cornwall Police, who said that they were part of the coroner's office, was part of the police, and that's why it's got Devon and Cornwall Police Constabulary on everything. But like I say, my mum died on the 24th of May 2018, but it was reported on that she died on the 28th. But it was reported on the 4th of June. I'm just pointing these things out. 2014, it says here, never smoked tobacco, never smoked. My mum didn't. She never smoked. She was dead against it. She hated it when her two sons did smoke. I don't smoke anymore. I've not smoked for probably 4 years. I used to smoke a bit of green, but I gave that up quite a long time ago as well now. So, but this says that she never smoked. At all, and I'm just pointing this out as well because I want to show you some other bits. I'm just going to go to this page because it's got summary. So 2007 she fell and she fractured her right wrist. She fell and she did it on the 14th of January 2007, and on the 15th of January 2007 she had x-rays done about it, and she had a plaster cast fitted. That's not actually on here, but I'm just pointing these things out. Mention osteoporosis there. She didn't. She used to take these chewable tablets up until 2014, when I believe that she was made to stop. It says about osteoporosis in 2012. Again, I don't think she really did. Declines medication. I don't think she. Well, she didn't decline medication. She used to take these chewable tablets. It's actually in here as well. She ran into a glass door in 2014 that was shut for the first time ever, and I believe that one of my family members shut the door because it wasn't shut when she was running around the house, and then the next minute it was shut. Now, I know that I didn't shut it because I think that would be absolutely awful, and she hit it so hard that she went flying backwards, and she must have landed 4 foot away from the door. It says there, it doesn't say anything about referral to memory clinic until 2016, and she declined referral to memory clinic in 2016. In 2016, on the 21st of June 2016, which is there, she was tested and she had CT scans where they found out that she had dementia, mild dementia, and there's a whole thing about it. Now, I'm just going to carry on. I'm just going to put this letter in. This was in 2007 when she fell and fractured her right wrist on the 14th of the 7th, 2007. Trim cast review 1 week, change of cast, then x-ray. The lady slipped over whilst dancing. She is a very fit and active 73-year-old. Despite the fracture being inter-articulate and communicated, she had an MUA the following day to a fair position. This is,
Again,
however,
if you need to read it
an
yourself, just
unstable
pause it and
fracture
zoom in.
and has slipped a little since that was done. We had a long chat today, including sending Mrs. Barrister off to consider her options, terms, blah, 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 blah. It's got slight movement. She opted for conservative treatment, suggested that she comes back in a few weeks, get an x-ray to ensure that it doesn't move any further. But I'm just saying there that it says she has been given finger exercises. I'm just trying to point out that this lady slipped over whilst dancing. She is very fit and active, 73-year-old, despite the fracture. Doesn't say anything about dementia or anything like that, because she didn't have dementia. And yet in the letters, there's one letter in here that totally contradicts everything in the rest of the doctor's records. It says that she did smoke, quitted a while back. The family have known that she's had dementia since 2007, which she has not. As I say, she only had dementia since she ran into the door in 2014. And it wasn't like she just had memory loss in 2014. In 2015, the memory loss got worse. But then she ran into a glass door. In the radiology report, when my mum had the CT scans in 2016, when she was tested for dementia, the dementia was caused by a metal artifact, a dental artifact. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if the dental artifact was the cause of it, and the dental artifact that was in her head was caused by running into a glass door, but there's nothing about running into a glass door. Now, I asked her husband that make sure you take Mum to the hospital in 2014 when she ran into the door, but there's no sign of it in any of the medical records that she was taken, so I don't believe that she was in 2014. In a lot of the records, it says that it's from unknown to unknown. There's a lot of unknowns, and a lot of the people whose names are in as third-party consultants or consultants are actually receptionists. Just pointing these things out. I'm just going to point out another thing. My mum didn't have any gynecology problems until 2016. And on another bit of paper, it says that my mum had a gynecology problem for 35 years or 30 plus years. I think it's 35 years. And she did not. She didn't have any problems until 2016. And that's also in these records, or in the GP, in the gyno records. They don't start until 2016, and there was nothing before that. And that's because she didn't have a problem before that. This is the letter that I was unclear why the doctor had tried to confuse me or mislead me. She said that she didn't know whether my mum could write anything down or not, because she'd never seen her write anything down, and yet this or received anything from her written. Well, this has a letter with my mum's signature at the bottom. This is the letter to back up the paperwork in the hospital records, which I believe. Now, I believe that this has been put in. It says here, saw Mrs. Parrish here together with her husband. She presented with a long history of gradual progressive decline in her memory, first noted by the family in 2007. It wasn't. She fell over and she fractured her right wrist in 2007. It says there she declined assessment at memory clinic in 2014, but she didn't. She declined it in 2016. We'll get to that as well. Over the years, her cognition has deteriorated quite significantly, and she presented with moderate global statistics on examination. She is heavily reliant on her husband for day-to-day function. Her past history includes osteoporosis, postmenopausal, blah blah blah. She does not take any meds, and was not keen to consider anything for her memory when asked later on in the assessment. There is no family history of dementia. She is an ex-smoker, having quitted a while back. Now, in the hospital records, there's a handwritten piece of paper that I recognise the handwriting. And I believe that this letter has been retyped because she didn't have these problems, and it's totally against all the rest of the stuff that's in the medical records that I've just been through with you. And I believe that this is to verify the hospital records, and it's been used in the hospital records, and I think it's absolutely disgusting. But it says that she quitted a while back at smoking, and that she's had dementia since 2007, and she didn't. And I've just read the rest of it, and she didn't have it beforehand. Now, this is the letter that I wanted to show you, and it says on there that the above named patient died in the Royal Devon and Exeter Hospital on the 23rd of May 2018. A post-mortem examination was not carried out, and her cause of death was established as, and it doesn't say, advanced dementia, neck of femur fat fracture, but she didn't have those problems, and she wasn't there on those dates. But the date on this says there is the 23rd. Just going to go, see if I can zoom in a bit more. You see that? 23rd. It's not the 28th, it's the 23rd. Now, I believe that they've changed this to the 28th, but it was the 23rd that my mum died. It says there, 23rd date of death of May 2018. I saw my mum dead on the 24th, but she died on the 23rd. The name at the bottom of the page is the same name as on the mortuary witness statement, which says the 24th. Throughout the whole of the GP records and throughout a lot of the records, the names that are blanked out are husband, the husband's name, son, lots of words are blanked out, but mostly husband and the husband's name and the husband's email addresses. All of them have been blacked out, which is very odd. And I've spoken to other people, and they said they don't understand why
Other medical
they would
staff.
black out the names. Just pointing it out. And I'm also just pointing out that all the records, and this record was last typed on the 24th of June 2020. This is the end of the GP records. So on the 24th of June 2021, this car turned up near my place, and the people who got out had an anniversary party. It says on the bottom there, apps for NHS, as the registration plate, 24th of June 2021. 3 ladies got out and they had an anniversary party with 2 people, two of the 3 people that I believe wrote the hospital records. It's their handwriting on the weird handwriting bits, and I believe that they retyped a lot of it and they wrote the handwriting in the hospital records. And this was just all a setup. But I found it extremely suspicious that these 3 ladies should turn up on the date a year later when the hospital and the GP records had last been typed. As I say, there were 3 ladies. There's 2 of the ladies there, and they come to meet this other lady or person. Get another shot. 3 ladies. 1, 2, 3 come to meet this person. 2 of the 3 ladies, I don't know who they are at all. I really don't. But I found it extremely strange that they came to meet these other people, like I say, who I believe wrote the hospital records. The other one of the 3 ladies, I don't know who she is, like I say. 2 with the 1, she's got a little celebratory straw in her hand or something. They all hugged and everything. This was within the lockdown in 2021. No social distance. They had an anniversary party for 3 to 4 hours in that car. I've got a friend who's an ex-copper, and he suggested that I wrote anything down or I took videos or pictures of anything suspicious, and so I did. And this was on the date 24th of June, PM in the afternoon, 2021, white VW Golf Polo, apps for NHS. This is the 24th, and the hospital and the GP records are last typed on the 24th of June 2020. This is the other thing that's very strange. This is my mum's CT scan in 2016, 21st of June 2016. On there it says 83. Mum was 83 in 2016. Oh, can you see that? There we go. She was 80. 83 in 2016, as I say, when she had the CT scans done. Just pointing this out because I think it's important. So anyway, there's a whole load of CT scans that she had done when she was 83 in 2016. I just want to try and get that, zoom in a bit more. There you go, can you see that? 83 in 2016. Now, there's another one, another CT scan, 83, another one, 83. These are all when she was 83. This record was a bit confusing for me because this is from 2018, and yet on the bottom there you can see it's got a date, emergency department, radiology request card 2006, but the record is from 2018, and it's when she was 85. On the top of the record it says that she is 85 in 2018, and on the bottom it's on her radiology request card from 2006. And this is the whole thing. Sorry, it's a bit of a blurb one, but I have got it, and it is from when she was 85 in 2018, but it's on the radiology request card from 2006. Now this one, it's in 2018 on a day that she wasn't actually in hospital, that's not mentioned in the GP records, 15th of May 2018, and it says she's 83, but she was 85. So that's weird, isn't it? That it still says that she's 83, even though she's 85 in 2018. Again, 83, 2018, she was 85, 83, 2018, she was 85. This is on the 14th and the 15th of May 2018, all of these x-rays, and they all say that she was 83, even though she was 85. I've been and seen the radiology department, and I've spoken to them, and they said the machine wouldn't make a mistake because it is a machine. You wouldn't buy a calculator if you thought it was going to get the answer wrong every time, would you? All of these, all x-rays, have got that my mum's age is 83 in 2018, and she was 85. There you go, there's the bottom of that radiology request card that says she was, that says 2006 on the bottom. And there's the top of the same page where it says she's 85 in 2018, but it's on radiology request card from 2006. This is the radiology from when she fell and fractured her right wrist in 2007, and her postcode's right for the year, EX108HE, which is right for the year, in 2007. Now this is Mum's radiology thing from 21st of June 2016. You can see here that she was tested for dementia. She had a CT scan performed, image quality, brainstream, cerebral, severely degraded by metal artifacts caused by dental work. The metal dental artifact. And as I say, she ran into a glass door in 2014 that had been shut for the first time. I'd never seen it shut. It was very odd when it was shut, because it was like the people who... Hang on a minute, let me get this right. It had never been shut before. My mum was running around the house. 1 minute the door was open, and the next minute the door was shut. I wasn't in the room when the door was shut, and I'd gone to the loo or something. When I come back, the door was shut. My mum ran into the door. So one of the other two people who was in the house, and there was only two, one was her husband and the other one was someone else, someone had shut the door, basically, and my mum ran into the door and she smashed her head really hard. She had a black eye and everything. This was 2014. And this says here that it was caused by dental work, metal artifacts caused by dental work. I don't think it was caused by dental work. I think it was caused by her running into the glass door, personally. But it does say there what was wrong with her, and it's
I just want to say it does go on about the CT scan. I don't know whether the metal artifact, whether it was anything to do with the CT scan. I know it's a giant magnet, but I presume not. But I don't know. So it could have been the door, and I don't know about the CT scan.
It's got what was wrong with her here and what was causing it and all that sort of thing. It says the sinus and bony elements appear unremarkable. You can see what it says about that, but that's what caused my mum's dementia. And that's on the CT scan in 2016 when my mum was 83. But in 2018, when she died, she was 85. All the x-rays have got the wrong age on. Now, in the radiology report that was put into the hospital, the records say that her postcode was EX108FF in 2007 when it was EX108HE. They've got the wrong postcode on the ones that were put into the hospital. They've got the wrong postcode for 2007, as you can tell, because I've just shown you the ones from 2007 that have got a right postcode on them. In the hospital records, there's something like 23 altered dates, and there's a further something like 9 other altered dates that aren't quite so obvious. On this, it looks like that's been made from a 1 to a 5. There's a load on here. My mum was in there from the 21st to the 24th. She died on the 23rd. There's all these other dates after the time that she was in there, which is just weird. And I'm just trying to point these things out. See, to me that looks like a 5's been written over a 4. It's just mad. Mum was dead on the 24th. I saw her dead on the 24th. The GP... the coroner's letter to the GP office says the 23rd. These ones look altered. It's either the 14th of the 4th, 16, or it's more likely the 14th of the 1st, 7. But again, altered dates. 15 looks like it's a line 4, 5, 18. So, I mean, that looks altered. If you go with the lines being these uprights, that's the 8th of the 5th, 18. That looks altered, but it also looks like it's written by someone I know. That's been crossed out, scribbled out. My new doctor said that if you make a mistake in the hospital, you kind of have to initial it. Well, there's no initials in any of these altered dates or any of the scribbles or anything. That could be 11, but it looks like the 2 has been made into a 2 over the top, 21. My mum did go in on the 21st. It's just mental. I don't know what that date says there, but it does look very weird. Again, it looks like it's altered. Another altered date. She wasn't there on the 17th. She wasn't there on the 14th. She wasn't there until the 21st. God knows what that was. I mean, look at that. That's horrendous, isn't it? What would you say that is? It totally looks like an altered date. The one on the...
There's a lot of dates, lots of scribbles.
Mad scribbles. That one's got the 22nd underneath it. 14th, 05 has been written over the top of 22, the day that I was told that my mum had an operation, and this was to have an injection in her spine. It's just disgusting.
It's signature
More
at the
altered
bottom
dates.
on the
My mum went in on the 14th
from
of the
the
1st, 07.
from the
Now,
2014.
look, to me that says the 14th of the 1st, and if you cover that bit up, 14th of the 1st, 7. It's just madness. Even that looks like it says the 20. It says the 23rd, but it looks like it's been altered as well. But like I say, my mum died. It says in the GP records on the 23rd. It says from the coroner's office. Another altered date, clearly altered. Another one, clearly altered. Looks like it's an 05 with a 1 written over the top. Another one exactly the same, 05 with a 1 written over the top. Now, if that's not altered, I don't know what is, but what do you think that is? It looks like 19 written over the top of 18 or 6 or what? But it's definitely altered, isn't it? And again, the 505 looks like it's written by someone I know. This is the car that my mum was driven to the hospital in. Volkswagen Passat estate car. She sat in the front passenger seat for an hour and a half to 2 hours, and she was driven to the hospital. I was told in 2020 to have a femoral nail fitted, and everybody that I've spoken to said that she would have had to have gone in an ambulance, and she wouldn't have been able to walk to the car even though she did beforehand. But everyone told me that she would have had to